Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Monday morning coffee time. Let's see what we got here. 45 people. I guess some people are sleeping in after the retreat. So, I hope you all had a wonderful Mother's Day yesterday and a wonderful end of the retreat. It's strange. Even good things ending sometimes feels there's a sweet note to it. I don't know, somehow. As human beings, we like to move on. We like variety and change. Um, and maybe that's just me, because it was a fair amount of work. But not a whole lot is going to be changing. We'll still be sharing our morning and evening meditations on the Pacific Hermitage YouTube channel. So we're moving back to like our normal morning and evening chanting style, though. So we start meditating at 5:30 on the stream, and then we do the chanting at the end. And that's what we like to do here for the monks at the Hermitage, so people can start sitting a bit earlier if they want a longer sit. And I think it works well for the stream because that's a bit too early for some people, but they might like to join in the chanting. So we put the chanting at the end there at 6:20 to 6:40. So if you like to do your meditation a little bit later, you can start at 6:20, join us for morning chanting. And almost without fail, that's going to be the devotional chanting based on the Iti Piso verse, homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, which we've talked about before, is a very nice recollection of the qualities of the Buddha, his teaching, which leads to the ending of suffering, and the noble Arya Sangha. So we'll be doing that in the Salutation to the Triple Gem, which is a nice mix of some devotional aspects and some wisdom aspects of the path. So if that's a support to your practice and you're already in the habit of joining us, hope you can continue. We'll keep that going for a while, as long as the other monks are okay. They're not thrilled to be on camera that early in the morning. So, but as long as they are willing, then we'll keep that going. And then we'll also be doing chanting in the evening time, although our normal time is 6 p.m. in the evening. And we might do some paritas tonight, but I've been thinking to start to do some sutta chanting in the evening time. Generally, we do that in the Pali language, and we like to chant some of the 3 cardinal suttas. So that's the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which is a mouthful, but it's the teaching of setting the wheel of Dhamma in motion, and it's the core text, or core teaching on the Four Noble Truths. And also the Anattalakkana Sutta, which is one of my favorites, and Discourse on Non-Self. And that's a very nice reflective teaching using the model of the 5 khandhas of body, feeling, perception, sankharas, or mental formations, and consciousness, and the fact that they are impermanent, unsatisfactory, and not self. So we'll be probably doing some of those if people want to join in. And if you like Pali chanting, there'll be a lot of Pali chanting in the evenings for a little while here. It can be nice just to meditate through that. It can also be nice to reflect on the English meaning as the monks are chanting that. So, and I wouldn't be offended at all if I found out that that's what people were doing in their home. Like sometimes even as a monk in the monastery with a lot of monks, when we're chanting those suttas, my mind just is inclined to listen to the chant and sort of go through the English translation as a way of reconnecting and reflecting, and it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful way to do that sort of reflection, especially the one on anatta, not self. So, just a couple of programming notes where we're heading. I'll be doing these morning coffee times. I'm really enjoying them, and I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people who are finding it useful. And I can't, in this time of the pandemic, um, my ability to reach out and connect with people in our Sangha, the local Sangha here in White Salmon in the Gorge, our Sangha in Portland, as well as friends further afield, is kind of limited. So this is kind of a best way to create some regular opportunity for people to connect. And there's a nice, friendly Sangha feeling in the chat room now, and so I encourage that. It's nice for you all to connect with each other and share resources and tips and good mornings and beautiful days and good evening in the case of Idil, who's in a very different time zone, as are some others. So I'm thinking to retire the Saturday afternoon tea time for the time being, as 3 streams a day is enough. So um, sometimes I have a Zoom meeting or two as well with monks from other monasteries. Or yesterday, I had a wonderful Zoom meeting with my whole family for Mother's Day, and that went on for about 2 hours. The first half hour, we were team support for Mom, trying to get her Zoom working. But it was wonderful. My sister and brother and their whole families were gathered online, as well as myself and my mom, and it was surprisingly uplifting to just have everybody on screen and be talking back. I hadn't had that experience before. I do video chat with people, especially other monks, from time to time, and I've had to do some board meetings and things like that before, but I've never done that with my family, and it was really fun. We had a great time. So, but I'm sitting in front of a webcam plenty hours a day right now. So I think 3 streams are enough. For the time being, we'll be doing the morning and evening chanting, and then this morning coffee time. So, and I have lots of other ideas of how we can maybe share some support for people as time and energy allows. I won't reveal anything now because it's just bad form to promise and not follow through. So even if you wholeheartedly intend. So today, many people that are here in the chat this morning were on the Birkin retreat, and for the people that had pre-registered for the retreat, the original retreat, where we were going to travel in cars up to Canada and be at Birkin Monastery, we had a nice closing circle online yesterday afternoon. So I heard from many of those people how their retreat experience went and what they liked about it, and also maybe how it could be improved in the future. So, but I thought to open up the opportunity for people here who might not have been on that, just to either share in the chat now, or if you want to call on Skype, that would be another way, pacific.hermitage, and I could take some short reflections from people on Skype about that whole format. Mostly we got a lot of positive feedback from people all over the world. Okay, I have someone coming in now.
Hello.
Hello, Alexander?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Just
I
a
was. Go ahead.
just a moment. Like sometimes it takes a second or two for the audio to connect. And make sure you have YouTube muted.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead,
all
Alexander.
right. So overall, the thing that most helped me within the retreat is sort of this community, the virtual community that you build online and work that's built online. Because whenever you're practicing on your own, it can quickly get dry, and it's easy to get demoralized. Uh, because without it, there's not much life to the practice in a way. So I felt, the generosity that you've offered and most of Americans offer just for being on Zoom and going on the internet and talking, which can be mentally agitating,
Hmm.
was substantially uh, helpful for me and will continue to be a benefit to me. I feel though I'm in a different time zone, so that was the only issue, and it's a bit hard to emulate a retreat environment at home. But I just take the 8 precepts, and that puts a level of restraint similar to that of a monastery.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
that's nice to hear. So you
over
were on the 8 precepts the whole time?
all but one day, one
Oh,
or
one day.
two
Oh, that's
days.
good. Yeah, a lot of people that even have had the experience and like to be on the 8 precepts had difficulty adjusting it to their home environment. But it's a noble effort, and sometimes people make too much out of it. It's beautiful to be able to practice that if you can, but you need to be sensitive to your family and your environment, and uh, it's not so easy outside of a monastic setting. So, uh, and the time zone thing, I don't know how we solve that really.
You can.
You could time delay it and just play everything on YouTube, um, so you miss out on a little bit of the live uh, ability to tune into the retreat. But that's the only other way I could think that people in all the different time zones can recreate that sort of feeling. But yeah, there's these pluses and minuses, and it is difficult to practice on your own. That's why we have sangha, and that's why I'm a monk. My practice as a layperson was a lousy failure. Uh, I'm
Really?
the kind of person that needs community and support, and I've only. It took many years to learn just what a terrific kind of support that was, and
Hmm.
it's like any kind of relationship. There's a certain amount of compromise, and sometimes you're a little bit out of step. Like, you know, the community feels like it's slowing you down a little bit, or um, you want to run and they want to walk. And then there's other times where um, you want to uh, quit, or you're feeling a bit low, and the community kind of lifts you up.
Yeah.
Uh, and also, you know, something I always encourage people to consider, because in America especially, we have this very strong, rugged, individualistic kind of idea, and we can read the Dhamma and feel like it's all there in the books. And the Buddha says you yourself have to do this practice, and you know the idea of that I could just do it alone. And even in some sense, like the notion of a Buddha is that you can do it alone. But we take the barami of the Buddha as something sort of very extraordinary. Uh, in practice, most people can't do it alone. They really need teachers and good friends in Dhamma, and the social context, and the good friend and Dhamma discussion, interactions.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
It,
that available online, but not much retreat stuff yet. I mean, I know there's been other kind of lay groups, especially, and other things of a nature uh, like we just did for many years. But I think it's a real experiment for us as monastics to branch off in this direction. And you know, if this pandemic goes on, I think we'll probably see more of it, and probably should. Be a really silver lining to the time. So thank you, Alexander. I'm going to move on and see if other people have
certainly.
things to share.
My respects to you.
Okay. All right. Could everyone hear that okay? I'm going to scroll back and just see. So we have something from Sharon. Let's move that guy down. So retreat in the online format worked perfectly for me. The flexibility was great and the content was beneficial. First retreat, continuing with daily practice. Glad to hear that. I've heard that from a few other people share, that the flexibility, especially people, some people have physical difficulties. And so being able to adjust that, dietary kind of restrictions. So you can just take care of all that sort of stuff practicing in the home environment. There's benefits and deficits to almost any way you divvy it out. Jeannie, I concur with Alexander's observation about the support of the community embodied in the live Q&A and afternoon and morning tea. So I have to kind of move around a little bit because my web camera is like straight in front of where I need to read. Yeah, good. That's nice to hear. Let's see, Adil. For me, the evening puja was morning and vice versa. So yeah, I haven't looked it up, Adil, but Baku is, what is it in GMT? You must be about halfway around the world from us, so that could work almost perfectly. We're -7 GMT here. So, Carolyn, the home environment was challenging. People love to talk. I had to learn patience, tolerance with others wanting to converse. Yeah. Yeah, people even like to talk at monasteries and in retreat centers. So that's one that one has to learn how to deal with. A reflection from one of the retreatants who put a tent out in their backyard and then discovered how distracting even that could be. So she was able to get out of her house where she has kids and a husband. But then you hear the neighbors talking, and that kind of pulls you out. And a tent doesn't offer much sound isolation. So sometimes you're better off inside. Sarima, beautiful comments and exchange of profound ideas. Initially hesitant about joining live chats, but these are so refined. Thanks everyone for keeping it so. Yes, I have to underscore that. Thank you everyone for keeping it so. Let's keep it that way. I have no hesitation to ban somebody if they're not engaging in right speech. I think that's just the way it has to be with this online stuff. People have sincere, well-intentioned feedback, even if it's of a critical nature, but it's well-intentioned, they feel that it'd be beneficial. That's most welcome. But people are just speaking out of anger or insensitive kind of positions. They need to go elsewhere. Let's see, Alejandro. The format worked really well for me, being in a different time zone. I accessed the talks on your own timing and felt very connected, inspired, and enriched. Thank you so much. Well, that's good to hear because I've heard of people doing a little bit of that, but it's nice to hear that you just moved everything over and then that worked. So, Dhammapala, Frank, lovely to practice more dedicatedly within the home context. Having been to Birken on retreats and coming back to the rest of life, it's hard to integrate. This was neat to integrate the teachings in real time. Yeah, Dhammapala, I heard that from more than one person. And I'm kind of keen on finding practices that I consider bridging practices. And visiting one of our monasteries outside a time of pandemic can be a really interesting experience. It's not as quiet and settled and refined as going to the perfect retreat center because it's a place where people are living their lives and things are happening. So that's a nice bridging experience. Walking meditation is a nice bridging experience. Some of the contemplative meditations, as opposed to just pure serenity meditation, are nice bridging experiences to help stitch this kind of into our everyday postures and habits. So let's see. Oh, Heather, the sound was great. Oh, good. I'm a budding sound guy, so it's good to hear the sound was good. So struggle. It's a struggle in our little meditation hall. It's completely reverberant down there. So, and monks don't like to be in front of microphones. So we've been working on different things to try to get the chanting sound a little bit better. We have some sound blankets hung up in there and 3 microphones now for each of the monks. And I'm running a mixer while I'm chanting and flipping the pages of the book, and it feels like I'm playing the mighty Wurlitzer organ while the chanting's going on, but it's all for good cause. Let's see, Cecilia, good to see you this morning, and look at your icon. It looks like a Bodhi leaf. Beautiful. It also looks like a green apple or a pear or something. Interesting. Hi, Ajahn. I took 8 precepts during the retreat today. Do I have to take the 5 precepts by myself? Yes, you can do that, Cecilia. You can take the 5 precepts by yourself. So, and that's an interesting question. Sometimes people, because we have a tradition and a ritual of monastics giving precepts, which is a skillful thing to do. Some people fall into this notion that the monastics are the purveyors of the precepts. Like we have to give them and take them away. Well, we take you off the 8 precepts and then we put you on the 5 precepts. And it doesn't really work that way. I mean, that's kind of a form and a ritual that we've developed, or at least I witnessed in Thailand. I think it happens in other Theravadan countries. But, feel fully empowered to take the 5 or the 8 precepts at any time. If you read in the suttas, oftentimes people, lay people that just encounter the Buddha or his disciples declare themselves to have gone to the Buddha, gone to the Dhamma, gone to the Sangha for refuge, and they just kind of like announce, let it be known that I am one who has gone to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So like they're declaring that they've gone to the triple refuge, and sometimes even that they are committed to living by the precepts. So, and one can do that on one's own. It's skillful to redetermine the precepts from time to time, and so that's part of the reason why in our chanting and various kind of gatherings and rituals that we do, it's very common to take the 5 precepts, and then at the beginning of a retreat, often the 8 precepts, or on the Uposatha day, when people come to the monastery to practice, they take the 8 precepts in the morning. And at Wat Pananacha and many of the Ajahn Chah branch monasteries in Thailand, where I lived and trained, many will stay for a day and a night. And then the last thing they do after the morning chanting ends at about 5 a.m. is the Ajahn will release them from the 8 precepts, and then encourage them to go about their business, and then they leave the monastery. So it's nice to redetermine every once in a while the precepts, just to reflect and check in. The monks, we have every new moon and full moon, we gather, reflect on our monastic discipline, and confess any transgressions to another monk, or if they're of a very serious nature, to the whole Sangha. And then we chant through our rule summary. And you can consider, if you make a sincere determination to take refuge in the Triple Gem and to live by the 5 precepts, you can consider that good for life. But mindfulness and recollection of these things is very important. So, and change is difficult. Like I don't know. A couple of years ago, I started thinking about ritual, which I was so allergic to. I mean, I actually enjoyed it. I grew up in a Catholic family, and I enjoyed the Mass. I enjoyed church, and I enjoyed some of that ritual. But when I mm, drifted away from it, and even went through a period where I was rejecting uh, Catholicism and organized religion, very skeptical of religious institutions, uh, I became very suspicious of ritual and dismissive of it. And Theravada is ritual light, and we don't take our rituals all too seriously. So that was nice. Uh, but over time, I just reflecting on how difficult it is for us as human beings to change. And this is just one aspect of ritual. I started to appreciate ritual as this these evolved forms of personal and social habits that help support change. Because we can't just change our mind like that, as we all know. We all have all kinds of good ideas, correct ideas even, of how it is that we could be better people. And but change is difficult, and ritual is something that really can support change. It's different than just a habit, uh, but I don't want to go too far afield into that. But just recommend taking the 5 precepts from time to time. 3 refuges and 5 precepts can be a nice short little ritual that can add something to your practice. So let's do another sharing from Jeannie here. It was illuminating to see more deeply my daily life and relationships through the frames of the themes of the retreat. Great. So, and Joseph and Kalyani. That's what the K and J mean. That peace van is Joseph and Kalyani's van. Our Dana coordinators, current Dhamma coordinators. We're looking for new volunteers for that. They'll be setting aside those duties come early June. So, great way to attend for those who have difficulty adapting to other schedules. Indeed. Yeah, that's part of the benefit there. Well, here we go. Venerable German Dhammadippa, 12 and a half hour distance. So a deal is 4 GMT plus 4. So, and we're 7 a deal. So that's almost perfect. Yeah, that's like 11 hours. And then if we go 12 and a half hours in the other direction, we get to Venerable German Dhammadippa. So you guys are in fortunate time zones for a West Coast retreat. You just have to shift things 12 hours. Let's see, Maryland. It was also helpful to be able to review the talk a second time after wondering if I really heard it accurately. I highly recommend that, Maryland. In fact, I was listening to these talks at least twice. I would watch them live for the spirit of community, and it'd be the last thing in my day, watching Ajahn Dhamma talk. Then I would go to sleep, and then in the morning I would get up and clean my hut and shave, and then come into the main house, usually about 4 a.m. or something, make some coffee, and then listen to the talk again, doing some walking meditation. So, and it would be good to revisit those talks in a little bit. Let them sit for a little bit, and then come back to them maybe in a couple weeks or a month or something to reinforce that. Part of the way memory works is you learn something and then you rehearse it, and then you expand the time frame a little bit before you remember it, and then a little bit more. So if you want to solidify your memories around some of those teachings and some of the imagery that's in there, give it 2 weeks, and then maybe listen to a talk a day and go back through it, and then maybe revisit it in a couple months. So let's see, Pat. Do you find yourself attaching to all these new electronic ways of connecting, stressing to make it work? Did you find it? Did you find you had to heighten your awareness around all that? Mm-hmm. I don't feel myself attaching to it. I feel quite at ease at it with it. You know, it's I'm kind of focused on the benefit that it produces people. I like to learn new things, and I guess I'm maybe slightly more technically inclined than your average person. I like the challenge of it on some level, but yeah, it wasn't stressing me out. But running live productions is tricky. You can't have too many things go wrong, uh, and have it still be presentable or useful. So, and Sola, Sola. Yeah, maybe you can help me learn how to pronounce your name. Like I'm thinking it's Sola, and I have no idea how to pronounce your last name, but it looks like a beautiful name. This was a once in a lifetime retreat opportunity. I'm from South Africa and had been saving to travel to Canada. Because of you, I had a free trip. Yeah, that's great. So, well, I'm glad you could make use of that. Uh, Power Cellify. Hi, Ajahn. Were you at Abhayagiri Monastery in 2018? I saw a video of Ajahn Sona talk there. It was really amazing to see this. 2018, I believe I was there. Um, I wasn't living there though, but I did have a chance to visit. What was going on in 2018? I think we had a big gathering there. Maybe it was the opening of the Dhamma Hall, and many senior monks were gathered, including Ajahn Sona. If that's the talk you're thinking of, I was probably just sitting right behind him in the hall. I remember him giving a talk, and we had him on what's called the Dhamma Asana, this seat, raised seat, so that when a monk's giving a Dhamma talk, people can see and hear them a little better. So I was there for that. Cecilia, thanks, Ajahn. Can I bring the plant? I think you mean plant to the Hermitage? You could either drop it off at Joseph and Kalyani's, the Donna coordinator's place, or you can bring it, just leave it on the deck if you want to drive out. So, but we're not meeting with people. But sure, if you want to come and offer us a plant, that'd be nice. Let's see, who else? Sarima. Oh, this is to Frank. Sorry. Alexander, yes, space repetition. Everybody should learn a little bit about space repetition. It's been my friend for about 15 years. Jeed from Eugene. Would you consider to give a live Dhamma talk? Well, I do it all the time. But yeah, I'll consider it. Once the technology settles, I'm still like in the process of working out the technology so that I don't have to focus on that too much. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to that. I've tried to do some recorded things, but it's just not the same as having people that I know in the chat room, which feels a little more friendly. And I like more informal modes of sharing Dhamma. I'm not the foremost in giving live Dhamma talks. I'm not as lyrical as Ajahn Sona or as lucid as many of my teachers. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Okay, and Carolyn, the sound quality for AM and PM is good and excellent. Okay, great. That's good to hear. Yeah, I figured if the sound quality is not very good for the chanting, why show up? So we do our best. There's a couple times where the current system we have set up needs a little improvement, and sometimes both the web camera and the computer have a mind of their own, and it switched the audio on us. So I have to have a pre-flight checklist and go through and check at least a dozen things to make sure everything's set up right. All right. Well, it is 8:35, and some people maybe have to get off to work. So I appreciate people sharing their experience of the retreat and feedback. If you didn't have a chance today, you can offer a little bit more coming up. Here's another comment from Moria, an old Abhayagiri friend. I think Moria was living across the street from Abhayagiri when I first arrived at Abhayagiri in the late 90s. Bante, you gave a wonderful talk at the Thanksgiving retreat in 2018. Oh, thanks. Mm. How do I make that go away? Okay, there it goes. Okay, well, yeah, if people didn't get a chance, or also some people might not have come today, I could take some more reflections on that tomorrow. But it's nice to have some feedback on the retreat. We'll probably continue doing something like this in the future for people. Thank you all for your practice and participation and support. And several people have offered some support for us to keep doing these, and that's appreciated. So I wish you all a nice day. Here we are on Monday, back to our daily practices. So I'll see you all tomorrow, either for our evening puja today or for morning coffee tomorrow morning. So be well and have a good day.